In this video, a bright object is following the Perseverance rover. We may have found evidence of alien life in the form of line, and we are digging for actual Martian jewels. Meanwhile, Ingenuity performs an emergency landing and loses contact with NASA. The rover currently sits on the edge of the Belva crater and investigates sediments from ancient streams. Some of these sediments have proven to crumble very easily. The long-term plan for Perseverance is to explore Narvales, which looks like an ancient riverbed. Water spilled out into the delta from this river, filling much of the Jezero crater. Some of the boulders in this area are very strange. This one is cracked in half. It was likely brought here by fast-flowing water. This rock shows signs of weathering, making the shape of a face with two eyes and a mouth. Perseverance takes a closer look. It's possible some of these boulders came from tens of kilometers away. On Sol 802, the team at NASA orders the rover to take a drill sample. Perseverance records the operation, which takes about 20 minutes. You can see the rover's shadow moving with the sun. Something else to note here is a rock that Perseverance drove over, creating a fine imprint in the sand throughout the 20-minute operation. We can see the action of the moving small particles in sand. This camera provides a better view of the drilling itself. Perseverance looks at the drill site, and the team is desperately trying to get a visual of the sample in the sample tube. Unfortunately, the sample is not intact, and only about 1.3 cm was retrieved successfully. Perseverance tries again, this time on the abrasion spot. Similarly, the rock crumbles too easily. The rover looks out at the Bell crater before moving 20 meters to another intriguing site. Perseverance examines its new surroundings. With the high-definition mosaic, sedimentary layers can be seen poking out of the rock face. The rover drives a short distance to get another look at these layers. You can see the rover tracks in the foreground. The rocks here have proven too crumbly, but the team desperately wants to sample this type of rock. A site known as Emerald Lake is chosen for the next sample attempt. On Sol 821, the rover comes across some extraordinary rocks. They appear to have been carved out by some geological process. This one has the shape of a humanoid mouth. These strange formations are likely due to a process known as cavernous weathering. This smaller rock is an excellent example of cavernous weathering. It's the process of how caves form on Earth. On Earth, cavernous weathering often occurs by water action, where debris in the water is trapped in currents, carving out rocks over time. These rocks are further possible indications of past huge water flows in this area. The rover reaches Emerald Lake after a short drive. The layering here is precisely what the team at NASA wants to sample. Hopefully this time it's manageable. Perseverance records the drilling. The sample is pictured immediately and found to be intact, finally a success for the rover. The team names the sample tube Otis Peak. These fragile rocks are essential because they are known as conglomerates. Suppose we get these samples back to Earth. In that case, they can indicate when Mars lost its magnetic field, which is of utmost importance for life to evolve. Just as the rover finishes its science activities and photographs its surroundings, something strange happens. Communication with Earth is lost. The rover has entered safe mode 4 times since its landing, but usually resumes contact within 3 days. Worryingly, it takes a long 5 days before contact is re-established. While the engineers at NASA try to determine what caused this communication dropout, the rover returns to work capturing an image of its recent drill site. With this successful sample, Perseverance and the science team plan to drive to a location known as Snowdrift Peak. However, the rover sees something strange in the distance. This rock on the horizon appears to have a hole going through it. Perseverance uses its super cam to get a better view. This rock is likely another example of cavernous weathering. Perseverance begins to drive away from the Emerald Lake site onward to Snowdrift Peak. There is a hope among NASA team members that the rover can get back in touch with Ingenuity, which has been out of range for quite some time. On Sol 836, Perseverance comes across another example of cavernous weathering. This rock has been carved out exceptionally well. The rover reaches Snowdrift Peak after a short drive and takes a look around. In the distance, we can see the beauty of the sloping hills of the Jezero crater wall. There are many exciting rocks in this location, possibly yet get more examples of cavernous weathering. Once we head further upriver, we may encounter a cave big enough for the rover to poke its camera in. Due to the amount of sharp and potentially dangerous rocks, the team at NASA asks Perseverance to record a bottom view during its next short drive. This sequence shows how good the autonomous driving software is selecting a route with few obstacles, surrounded by minefield of potential dangers. The drive takes about 16 minutes in real time. The rover looks out over the rugged landscape. From its current position in the expected position of Ingenuity, Perseverance should be able to contact the helicopter. But nothing breaks the silence. The rover can see no evidence of the helicopter. The team at NASA is feeling uneasy. What has happened to Ingenuity? The rover continues working at Snowdrift Peak, feeling lonely without a friend. On Sol 843, the rover captures something incredible, a bright object on the Mars surface. We've seen something like this before way back on Sol 467. It's likely a piece of spacecraft debris called multi-layer insulation from the Sky Crane, which flew away and crashed after Perseverance touched down. But why does it seem to be following the rover? This piece of debris is now moving with the wind, but could it have traveled nearly 3 kilometers up over the delta, or is this another piece altogether? The shape and size of both objects are similar, so even though it's unlikely it may be the very same piece, if it's not the same piece, then it shows just how far the debris was ejected. When the crash landing happened on Sol 845, the rover captures this image of some of the boulders in the area, and the team at NASA makes an interesting observation. It's theorized that the boulders were deposited here by a more robust water system than the one that deposited the pebbles, because the boulders sit on top of the smaller rocks and pebbles. The team believes this more powerful water system was much more recent than initially thought. Perseverance passes an exciting rock that the team at NASA names Dragon's Egg. The rover is instructed to gather up close images known as proximity science. The team at NASA would like to sample this rock. Perseverance attempts to evade the rock and takes a high-definition mosaic of its work. Unfortunately, the operation was unsuccessful, and the rock was too hard. You can see the mark left on the rock. It looks like the tool slipped during the abrasion. The rover takes a break from its rock worker and looks westward toward the towering crater rim. This is a stunning image because we can see the vast walls of the Jezero crater on each side of the ancient river system, which carved its way through. For now, we can only dream of the images the rover will capture when it ventures into the ancient riverbed, unless you're from the future, in which case keep watching the episodes. The rover tries to perform an abrasion patch once again on the Dragon's Egg rock. It starts by using its gaseous dust removal tool. Now that the dust is clear, Perseverance gets some close-up images of the rock. Given the greenish hue, the rock looks to be rich in olivine minerals. The rover gets busy trying to use its abrasion tool once again. This time the operation is recorded. After checking the tool for damage, the team asked Perseverance to photograph the patch. The operation went a little smoother this time, but the patch is still not as deep as usual. You can see the bright tailings from the abrasion, which have also littered the surface of Mars. While looking at the patch, the team spots something strange. It's a dark circular marking on the rock. The rover is instructed to take lots of images. Some people believe that these markings could be remnants of lichen. Here's an example of lichen on Earth. It's also noteworthy that in 2013, a study was published in the journal Planetary Space and Science, showing that certain species of lichen could survive in simulated Martian environments. After gathering data, the rover focuses back on its abrasion patch. The team observes the patch under the rover's UV lights to better understand what makes up the rock. This rock is deemed too challenging for further drilling. On Sol 857, the rover comes across another similar rock, which will hopefully be softer. The surface of the rock shows some strange textures. Perseverance is ordered to use the rock abrasion tool again. The rock is hard, and the abrasion tool doesn't penetrate very deep. The rover takes some stunning images of the abrasion patch. While capturing pictures of the patch, the team again spots something interesting. It's another dark patch very similar to the previous one. This has happened on Mars before. In 2005, the Spirit rover captured this image. It looks very similar to lichen here on Earth. However, it was a part of the rover scratching the rock when performing abrasion operations. Could something similar be happening here? If we look at both images, they are a similar distance from the abrasion patch and similar in size. Likely these dark patches are simply a byproduct of the abrasion operation itself. They are probably minor scratches from the two finger-like stabilizers on the rover's arm. However, NASA is fascinated with them, and these small abrasions can provide more information about what's just under the surface of these rocks. The rover gets busy drilling. Unfortunately, yet again the rock is too hard. After checking for any damage to the drill bit, the rover is ordered to move westward toward another outcrop named Dream Lake. Perseverance moves quickly, running over small rocks along its way. On Sol 870, Perseverance stops dead in its tracks. The rover has spotted something. It's the helicopter, but it shouldn't be in this area. Perseverance turns to get a better view. If the rover could speak, it might warn Ingenuity about the dangers of being run down by a Mars rover. Now that the two explorers are within range, Ingenuity tells the team at NASA what has happened. The helicopter is not where it should be because it had to perform an emergency landing. This was caused by dropped frames from its navigation camera, which has happened before, and the team thought they'd already fixed it. However, their software update only accounted for so many dropped frames. Due to the issue, Perseverance watches as Ingenuity performs a short up and down flight. After the team at NASA applies another software update, the helicopter rises to an altitude of 16 feet or 5 meters before rotating left and touching back down. As Ingenuity lands, it bounces slightly, which is typical for a landing on this type of terrain. It also captures a color image from the sky and can even see its big rover friend tentatively watching. On Sol 874, the rover reaches Dream Lake and comes across a rock with a strange texture. It appears to have hundreds of small nodules. Perseverance examines the tiny landscape using its arm. The rock is littered with small pebbles and clumps of dust. Perseverance uses its gaseous dust removal tool, revealing a spectacular assortment of crystals. Given the greenish hue and the amount of olivine detected in the area by other NASA missions, these are likely olivine crystals on Earth. A typical gemstone of olivine is worth around $50 to $500. However, it's safe to say that these Martian gems would fetch a far higher price. Excited by this finding, the rover gets busy braiding. The operation goes smoothly as the rock is significantly softer than the previous two. The patch is photographed and shows what appears to be small veins of olivine-like minerals. Perseverance takes one last look at Ingenuity before they part ways once again. On Sol 881, the helicopter takes off for flight number 55. It's heading west over a small ridge, scouting the way for Perseverance. Ingenuity spots a strange formation and has a good look at it before deciding on a spot to land. It managed to snap a quick color image of the formation from above. Meanwhile, Perseverance is still studying the olivine-rich rock and has been ordered to take a sample. The rover records the drilling, which is a complete success. The sample is clearly seen inside the tube, and when returned to Earth, it may contain some Martian jewels. Happy with its work at Dream Lake, Perseverance now moves on westward to the ancient riverbed. Thank you for joining us on this riveting journey, where we delve deep into the enigmas that challenge the boundaries of the known world. We hope you've enjoyed uncovering the secrets of the unexplained with us, and we're just getting started. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our videos to stay up to date with the latest investigations and discoveries. Until next time, remember, the world is full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep believing.